start the meeting. I'm going to call it to order. Do we accept the proof of publication? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, passes unanimously.
Noted Commissioner Delary is absent.
Thank
Just for
you
the
very
record.
much. Commissioner Glory is absent. I think all of you, if anybody knew earlier, Commissioner Delory's father is in the hospital and awaiting potential surgery. And so Commissioner Delory was going to have a difficult time, obviously, being here this afternoon. The plan is that he will be here, he said, this evening when we're doing the final public hearing on the budget. And with that, the rules of the public hearing is as follows. Our board will present each item, our staff will present each item for consideration with staff recommendation. The board will have an opportunity to ask questions of staff when presentations have finished. The applicant will have the opportunity to make a presentation. The board will have a chance to ask them questions. Members of the public interested in speaking either for or against the project, please fill out the yellow speaker form located in the lobby indicating the item number, whether you are for or against, and place the form in the indicated tray in the lobby. Members of the public will only be allowed to give comment once per item. If you would like to have your comments submitted for the record, please fill out the green comment form located on the table in the lobby and place the form in the indicated tray in the lobby. Speakers should state their name, address clearly for the record, and whether you are for or against the item. Speakers will be given 3 minutes to speak unless they are official spokesperson for HOA or a legally organized group that have interest in the subject, and they will be given 6 minutes. If a member of the board has questions regarding the speaker's comments, an opportunity will be given once the speaker's time has expired. Speakers should limit their comments to pertinent information regarding the agenda item under consideration, keeping your items within 3 minutes. The clerk office is required to retain all documents, photographs, drawings, etc. that are presented to the Board of County Commissioners. So if you show it, please understand you must leave it. Once all the speakers are heard, the applicant will have the opportunity for rebuttal if necessary. We will close the public hearing, put the matter in the hands of the commission for discussion. Following a motion and second, there will be board discussion and a vote will be taken. Commissioners who have not cast a vote are considered to have voted in support of the motion. And with that lengthy explanation, I see that we have Mary Robinson up here for the rules, and this is public hearings for quasi-judicial. And I must read this also. While the board welcomes comments from from the persons with an interest in the proceedings, Florida law requires the board's decision in a quasi-judicial action, which this will be, supported by competent, substantial evidence presented to the board during a hearing on the application. Competent, substantial evidence is such evidence as would be a reasonable mind would accept as adequate to support a conclusion. There must be factual based in the record to support the opinion testimony from both expert and non-expert witnesses. Persons presenting testimony may rely on factual information that they present, that is presented by county staff, that the applicant presents, or on factual information included in the county staff report to support their testimony. All persons who present written material or present written materials to the board for consideration must ensure that a copy of such materials is provided to the clerk for inclusion in the records. Has any commissioner received any oral or written communication regarding the quasi-judicial items? If so, please disclose the substance of the communication and identify the person making the communication. I have my ex parte information. I've presented it to the clerk already. Thank you, Kayla. Anyone else?
I had no ex parte communication.
I have none to submit.
I as well have nothing to submit.
All right, wonderful. Then let's move along. And the first item on the agenda is 5995 Lineal Beach Drive, and Mary Robinson is the project manager. Mary?
Yeah, thank you. For the record, Mary Robinson with Planning and Development Division. Item 21 on your agenda is a request for a 1,580 square foot boat dock on property located on the north side of Lineal Beach Drive, approximately 1,100 feet west of Bear Lake Road. The applicant is proposing, like I said, to construct a 1,580 square foot boat dock on the property. Chapter 70 of the Land Development Code, dredge and filling, contains 7 items to be considered when issuing of a boat dock permit. The application does comply with the 7 items that are also listed in your agenda and meets the height regulation required by the Land Development Code. The applicant has also been issued a general permit from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and staff is recommending that the Board of County Commissioners approve the request for a 1,580 square foot boat dock on Bear Lake on the property located on the north side of Lineal Beach Drive, 5995 Lineal Beach Drive, approximately 1,130 feet west of Bear Lake Road. And I'll answer any questions you may have, and I think the applicant is here. I haven't met them, so I'm not sure what they look like.
Any questions of Ms. Robinson? Seeing none, is the applicant here? Come on down.
Okay, good.
Hi, sir.
Oh, you're the property owner. Okay, well, introduce yourself.
Hello there. My name is Lawrence Heisler. I'm actually the property owner. Also with me is Preston Scott. He is helping, he's one of the builders of the dock.
Address for the record, sir.
5995 Lineal Beach Drive, and that's Apopka, Florida.
Thank you very much. Did you want to say anything about your request?
No, I think we've done everything that we should do. We're just building a bigger dock than we currently have, and you guys are certainly be invited to the dock party once it's done.
I think there's
I
rules about
am
that.
very jealous because I live on a lake and this is a big dock.
Well, today is National Beer Day or something.
Beer drinking day, yeah, that's what it is. Have a beer day, that's right. So that's all that's the explanation, okay? Any questions?
What he's really saying is he'd just like us to approve it.
Yeah. Just get me out of here and then let me build my dock. Okay, thank you very much, sir. I do
have none
have
either.
public comment to go
Okay,
to.
thank you so much.
Okay, is there any public comment? You might want to stay here. We might have some serious questions for you, sir.
Just stay
Anybody
close.
is there any public comment here? Seeing none, I did want to, this is in my district. I did talk to many of the citizens around the lake just to make sure that there was no concern. This is the side of the lake that is very low normally, so therefore the dock has to go out further, and they did not seem to have a concern about this size, other than they wanted to make sure they were invited to the party also.
Right.
So other than that, so that I would be a good neighbor, invite all your neighbors who said no problem. Since it is in my district, I would recommend a motion to support.
Chairman, I'm prepared to move to support the item as presented.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, passes. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you so much.
Good
And I'll
luck.
let you know the date of the party.
Okay, we'll look forward to it. Thank you. Okay, the next item is a nuisance abatement in Commissioner Herr's district at 1800 Strickland Avenue. And we do have Liz Parkhurst here for the as the project manager. Liz?
Good afternoon. For the record, Liz Parkhurst, Building Division. Item number 22 is a request for an order to be imposed declaring the unoccupied structure located at 1800 Strickland Avenue, Sanford, a public nuisance, and require corrective action be taken by the record property owners. On July 27, 2021, the board issued a notice of determination of public nuisance for the unoccupied structure. This notice ordered that the structure be repaired or rebuilt in compliance with the Florida Building Code or be abated through demolition. To date, no corrective action has been taken, and there continues to be a steady decline in the condition of the property. The purpose of this public hearing is to provide the record property owners the opportunity to appear before the board to state why the structure does not create a public nuisance and why the property should not be abated. On August 2nd, 2021, pursuant to Chapter 168 Seminole County Code, the Volusia County Sheriff's Office served the summons to appear along with the notice of determination on the record property owners Cedric L. Butler and Lynette D. Morrison. Staff recommends that the board issue an order declaring the unoccupied structure a public nuisance and require corrective action be taken by October 28th, 2021. In the event that the record property owners do not take corrective action by October 28, 2021, it is further recommended that the board direct staff to abate the public nuisance. The building official, Bob Pike, is available for any questions, and that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. Questions of staff? Seeing none, is the individual that has any claim to this home here? Come on down, sir, please.
State your name and address for the
Yes,
record.
I'm sorry.
James Delafield, 1800 Strickland Avenue.
Thank you, sir. Would you like to say anything, sir?
I don't know how to go about it. It's just a family issue. One has the money repaired and the other one don't, and they just trying to come to an agreement to get one's name off so it could get repaired with some kind of family. I don't know how to, we're supposed to be coming to a resolution soon, but it's going to get repaired.
Okay. Commissioner Lockhart and Commissioner Zimbauer.
Yeah. Mr. Delafield, just for clarification, are you here representing the two family members
Yeah,
that are
Lynette
listed?
Morrison, my mother.
Got it. Okay, thank you. I thought it would be good to have just clarification that you are not one of the
No,
people.
ma'am.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner?
Thank you, and thank you, Commissioner Lockhart. That was one of the questions I had as well. In addition to that, what interaction have you had with communication with our county? I'm assuming this is not your first knowledge that this was a problem, or your family's?
No, not my habit.
So how long ago were you aware that there was a problem?
I've been knowing for years, but they haven't, like my Uncle Cedric just won't, basically, I'm just get out the way.
Okay, got it, okay. Do you all have legal counsel
That's
between the
probably-
families?
No, they don't, but they trying to come to, before I have to take it there. So probably basically I got to pay them to get out there.
Understood. Well, maybe these proceedings will help that along. a
Yeah,
little bit.
hopefully, because, see, he
Okay.
didn't come, that's why I come represent my mother.
Sure, right. But y'all desire to do something
Oh,
with the
yes,
house?
yes, sir, yes, sir.
It's just a matter of the family members figuring out
Yeah,
how they're going to do it?
One
Okay.
has the money and one don't, so that's it.
Understood. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Nothing else.
Thank you.
Chairman?
Yes, Commissioner Hurd.
And just to be clear, no one's living in the dwelling.
No, ma'am.
So I am prepared to make a motion, this is in my district, and I would say that we should approve the item as presented. It does give your family maybe the additional impetus to pull it together and get your uncle to come to terms with your mom. And it gives you the additional time in order to get this rectified and start to make progress on it.
Second.
Motion and second. Under public comment, is there anyone here to speak on the motion? And that includes you, sir, if you had anything that you wanted to say on
No,
that
that's it.
motion? Okay, so you feel comfortable with the motion? Good. Anybody else here to speak on public comment? Seeing none, we're going to close public comment. We have a motion and a second in front of us. Is there any debate or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Good luck, sir. We want everything good to happen.
Chairman?
for you. Yes, ma'am.
I just would, sir, I would like to offer to you that if there's any confusion around what's going to happen next, that staff will work with you to make sure that your family understands what the next steps are in the process. And if you need anything, please reach out to my office.
Thank you, sir. All right, I think that we're now at the point where we have the legislative update with Tricia Johnson, our Deputy County Manager. Tricia?
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Commissioners. Tricia Johnson, Deputy County Manager. Brandon's going to put the priorities that I passed out to you on the screen for the public, and you should each have a hard copy in front of you. The bag of the priorities is really what I'd like to talk about. You recall we talked 2 weeks ago about our recommended legislative priorities those priorities we'd like to monitor and our appropriations requests. So I believe I captured all of your requested changes and edits to the actual priorities themselves. And really what was left outstanding was our appropriation requests. So I will go through those with you and then share my recommendations. We last time had 3, and we do this meeting as well, but I have modified 1. I have added the Wekiva Springs Road project. This is a project that will make there are 3 intersections that come closely together, so it's a very dangerous area, and the project itself will help with congestion and decrease vehicle collisions. We would ask for $500,000 and match it with sales tax. The change that I made, we discussed last time, was the request to expand a portion of the Seminole County Museum for the buggy collection. And I spoke with our lobbyists about that, and really what drove me to decide taking it off the list, or recommending taking it off the list, I should say, is that request would compete against our 2 infrastructure requests. They would come from the same bucket of money. And we don't really want to do that. So what I am recommending is I work with Mr. Epps and the Historical Society to draft the request, which is very well written as it is. We would just punch it up a little. And then I will talk offline with our legislative delegation to let them know about it, let them know that we are supportive of it. It is one of our facilities, but it would have the Historical Society's name on it. So that way it won't compete against our request. I believe that's the best way to proceed. And if we can get a sponsor on the House side, then hopefully they will be more successful this year since they do have Senate support. So those are my recommendations based on our conversations 2 weeks ago and feedback from our lobbyists.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia. Is there any questions or comments?
Nope.
Anybody want to add or subtract anything? The only thing that I would just suggest, I know it's in the home rule thing, but I think with 2 lawsuits going on, that we are spending a great deal of time, resources of the county to protect and preserve our rural boundary. I just want to make sure that no one up in Tallahassee understands that, we're going to go silent if there's any funny business that happens up there. So I don't know if we need to emphasize that anymore. I'm certain that that goes without saying to our both our legislative lobbying team, as well as, and I was going to say this in the chairman's report, but I think we all know that tomorrow morning is the legislative delegation meeting here in these chambers at 9 a.m. and welcome any of you to please come if you wish, but I will make the presentation on our behalf, specifically concerning our priorities, and I will emphasize that clearly. Commissioner Zimbauer.
Thank you. I would be remiss to just not remind it. We need to keep any opportunity we get for Lake Jessup projects. That's been going on very much as long as the Little Wekiva River issue, much longer, I would advocate. I also want to applaud us doing the Wekiva Springs Road issue. I've been talking with the commissioners in Orange County who've had a problem along this whole corridor, especially on the weekends, as the 2 counties come together in this whole area. And Orange County has allocated a significant amount of money to their side to help that traffic issue. So this would be a great ask and a great deal to help complement and get that whole roadway safely squared away. So good work.
Right. And I will just mention that there will be a full house tomorrow morning. Lots of folks have signed up to speak. And so if you do wish to attend, the chairman will welcome the delegation and speak first, and then elected officials, then not-for-profits and education partners, then members of the public.
Great.
I would like to concur with Commissioner Zimbauer. I remember putting in funding requests for Lake Jessup way back in the 90s.
Right.
So, we want to continue emphasizing Lake Jessup.
We were close a couple years ago getting some serious money, but just didn't happen.
Anyone else that wishes to speak? Yes, Commissioner Lockhart.
Well, I would just say, excellent job, especially taking so many broad topics and really zeroing in and in just a few sentences saying what could take pages. This is just very, very well done, and I think you listened and executed exactly on what it was we'd asked for. And I would even think that it would be appropriate to share this with the Florida Association of Counties as they start to, well, we just went through that this last week, but drilling down all of the counties, the 67 counties. I think this could serve as a wonderful template for how to,
Be succinct.
yes, that's the best word.
Be direct.
Succinct, yes, is very, very good. So, thank you, congratulations.
Thank you, and I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to Ashley Moore and Rachel Rector, who really came up with this new look. I just think it's great, so thank you to them for their creativity and ability to be succinct as well.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Commissioner Hurd.
So I do serve on behalf of this board with Leadership Seminole, and I do think there's an opportunity to make sure that the Buggy project is on their horizon just as a backdrop, and so I will make sure that that gets brought up to their executive team. As you know, the classes determine their own projects, but if we can at least get on the list of suggestions, because I don't necessarily think that a class member would come up with that idea.
Right.
But it is well within the range of funds that could be raised, and typically you get labor associated with the project, et cetera, so that may be a great way to backdrop that.
Good suggestion.
Good stuff.
Good idea. Great. Thank you. I don't believe that we need, or do we need a formal motion? All right, then we have a consensus on this, and thank you very much.
Thank you,
Ms.
Chairman.
Johnson. Appreciate it. County Attorney's report.
Oh, County managers.
County manager is waving here, there was no county manager report.
I just want to give you an update on the recovery funds, and it'll take 2 seconds to let you
Please.
know where we are. We have been, just so you know, we have been meeting as a team, all of the different departments that are involved in administration of these ARPA dollars. We've been meeting every 2 weeks so that we make sure that things keep moving. I'll start with an item that's not really ARPA. It's the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. The Phase 1, as you know, is limited to 80% AMI and below. We are at 10.75 million has been distributed of that first tranche, and that first tranche is an ARPA term. That first round of funding, which we received at the end of December in 2020, not part of the rescue plan. We anticipate that those dollars will be fully expended by the end of October, which is good because we were worried that they might claw some of those back. So we've done, relative to the rest of the country, extremely well in getting those funds out into the community. We do have another $14 million that can be directed to households at 80% and below, which was part of the ARPA funds, separate from the recovery dollars that we received. So when we get to the end of that first phase, we'll just roll right into those. Those funds are available countywide because they came to the county to be directed countywide. As a reminder, we, as part of the recovery plan, targeted $4 million internally to provide assistance to households that are between 80% AMI and 140 AMI. That's the workforce housing threshold. That the portal to start distributing those monies is scheduled to open on October 1. So we've already gotten some things out on the website about that. Those dollars are intended for unincorporated Seminole County households only. We have been talking with the cities. There is an interest with the cities. Some of them have an interest in also participating in that program. The funds would be run through the county. And we're working with the county attorney's office on agreements relative to that. The cities have just gotten their money, and in fact, as of last week, Castleberry hadn't gotten theirs yet. So there's a delay in where they are with respect to funding from where we are. We will be keeping track of folks that apply through our portal that are not eligible under our program, and may be eligible under a city program. So hopefully, if we're not able to help them, there'll be funds available in the cities to help them. The Small Business Assistance portal is scheduled to go live at the end of October. And the nonprofit assistance program is scheduled to open on October 11th. That one we're administering internally. Both of those programs, additionally, we've talked with the cities about participating in. The nonprofit program is particularly interesting to them because they can direct everybody to us, which I think they would love to be able to do. And it really will avoid folks shopping around in different entities and sort of double dipping into the ARPA funds. So there seems to be a lot of interest in that. And then the small business program, I'll remind you that we had $2 million of leftover CARES dollars that we're going to pump into that first, which will be available countywide because those are countywide funds. When those run down, you allocated an additional $1.5 million for any unincorporated businesses after those dollars are done. And the cities are looking at whether or not they want to participate in that. If they participate in our program, they'll have sort of an icon on their websites. It'll look like it's coming from them, and they'll help offset some of the administrative costs for Ernst & Young on those programs. So that would be a part of our agreement with them. On other projects, we are working on drafting the agreement for the Rescue Outreach Mission. Allison's team has been working on that. The Midway project, we've started the procurement process for design. We're in the initial phases of moving forward also with the park project in association with that overall trail project. So we've got some movement on that. Tricia has been working with the hoteliers on the hotel assistance. I think she's finalizing the agreement with the county attorney's office. Rick Durr and his department is putting together, as you'll recall, we put a couple $1 million of ARPA funding aside for community parks and for disadvantaged neighborhoods and populations. Rick is putting together a list of potential projects. I'll remind you dedicated $1 million towards the Midway project, so he's looking at other options for some additional community parks. The broadband RFP has been completed, and Chief Droz is making great progress on the community paramedicine program, and we have been coordinating with the health department on that. So that's kind of where we are in a nutshell. I'll be happy to, if you have other questions about other initiatives, please let me know, and we'll get those answers to you if we don't have them today.
Any questions? Thank you for a very
Thank you.
thorough report. Appreciate it. And the attorney already has said he has no, oh, no, you're going to have to. Okay.
I'm not going to follow that.
Okay. Now, future agenda items, I don't believe that we have any that it's in front of us right now.
Not for this meeting. You have
Okay.
one for the next meeting.
And public comment. Do we have anybody here on public comment? Mr. Hyde, Mrs. Hyde? I know, but we always love hearing from you. It's become a tradition now. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it
good
very
man.
much. Okay, so we're going to go to District Commissioner reports. District 5.
Certainly, thank you. The word of the day is succinct. With regard to the Port Authority, they are virtually fully occupied, and their receivables page is absolutely blank. So that's pretty cool. It's the first time since I've been there, and they were celebrating that it's the first time in a long time now. To put that in perspective for the public, their receivables page is one of the most beautiful items that you've ever seen. There is never a large receivables page, but it is absolutely empty, so good work to them. And I'd also like to give a shout out to Rebecca and her team. I have been listening into the DRC meetings every now and then, and I just cannot thank you enough for representing our wishes and the citizens' wishes with regard to moving us forward around responsible building, and just know that you're appreciated. That's it.
Good report. That's a tough job, that land use DRC, right?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Commissioner. District 2?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, on August 11th, I spent some time up in Ocala with some of our sister counties on the Medical Examiners Board meeting. That's, I know everybody here is just dying to get on that board. But I want to thank
Enough
Allison.
of your deadpan humor.
That's right.
All day.
Allison and Melanie accompanied on behalf of the county, and I can't thank them enough for getting me up to speed, because they have been attending that before we actually had a representative in place. Now that we do have a representative in place, I hope to, represent our county and this board in a proper fashion. There's a lot of things going on there. They're wanting to build a new ME's office. I've asked our county attorney to work with the other county attorneys. They're putting out some RFPs. Marion County is the elephant in the room, I guess you might say, who's running the traps for the RFP and RFQs and so forth. We won't do anything until, that obviously comes back. We'll take it to each respective board. Bottom line is they're going to be looking for money. That's going to be in the future. There's been a lot of things talked about whether we stay where we're at. Looks like we're going to be status quo for about 2 years. Beyond that is when the board is looking at making some changes. So I don't see us having any real situation to expend money for at least 2 years before that ever comes back. So I want to thank Marion County and their staff for, carrying that expense of doing the RFPs and RFQs and coordinating with our staff as well. Not a whole lot else going on there. Metro Plan, everything's pretty much status quo there. I did have a conversation during one of the Metro Plan meetings with Laura Kelly, Executive Director at CFX. On behalf of the airport, as liaison of this board, the airport is desiring to have an access off 417 directly into the Sanford Orlando International Airport. The genesis for this is we're running out of possible places to be able to put such an asset to get into this airport. We're told they need about 350 foot of right-of-way unobstructed to get there. What I would ask is support from my fellow commissioners to ask our chairman to send a letter to Ms. Kelly requesting that they perform a study. She's indicated that they would undertake a study if they were asked to do so. This would be a very preliminary, very early stages, very early step to determine, is there a path to get there? What is it going to take? Identify the routes, the costs, and all those things. I think this airport is going to continue to grow and be an asset that we need to help support. And of course, a good portion of the roadway will come through the city of Sanford as well as unincorporated Seminole County. So I ask for support if you all so believe it's appropriate to ask the chair to make that request through CFX.
Is there any objection to that? And
No, Well, I would just say, no, there's no objection. But I would say that sometime early on in 2020 pandemic world, doing a Zoom, I couldn't tell you exactly what the month or date was now because it all blends together. I had a great conversation with Laura Kelly and Michelle Mikush about that possibility.
Sure.
And so I think this is something that's been on
the
our
radar,
radar for
right.
a while, and the fact that we have an opportunity to actually get a pro forma done is very exciting.
Yeah.
And since we all serve on different boards, I just wanted...
I have a suggestion, but go ahead.
No, I just wanted everybody to know what we have done already. We all serve on different boards. Ms. Kelly and I have had a number of conversations about this and keeping the corridor open.
Correct.
So they are working on that, as well as our staff has been notified that, when things come in, we have to ensure that you called 350 feet, that we keep that corridor available.
Right.
They want to get it on their 5-year plan so that they can
Sure.
then do the preliminary
Right.
studies. PD&E studies.
Yep.
So I think everybody is moving in the right direction. I'd be happy to write the letter. I think that would just formalize what
Correct.
we already know.
Yeah, I think if we formalize it, it puts
Everybody on
everybody
notice.
on notice that we are looking at it. It is a desire. Also puts it on Metro Plan's radar for those of us that's on Metro Plan and vying with our partners for all the money that we all need to put infrastructure in. So, yeah.
County manager?
I would I'm sorry, Commissioner, did
You were first.
my suggestion, I have a suggestion that I think that we should also reach out to the city of Sanford because they will really determine whether or not this project is able to happen.
Sure.
There's a significant amount of development going on in the identified corridor, and I think that they need to be at the table at all of these discussions because frankly, they could make or break the ability to do this project.
So just an FYI, the mayor sits on Metro Plan next to me as well as on the airport board. It's been discussed at both. I've not heard any objections. I've only heard, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, but I concur, formalize it.
Commissioner Herr, and then I want to just, reiterate, piggyback on what you just said, but go ahead, Commissioner Herr.
Well, I think you went down the corridor that I was going to go down. I think it's been what I would call loosely defined, for lack of a better use of words, and it's not only ours. And so I think we need to just put clarity around what we're talking about of the corridor, because there is no corridor. There is just a general area where we think it makes sense.
Right.
Alignments, I think.
There you go.
Nice alignment.
Not even an alignment
Future
yet.
alignment. County Manager, then, as you have this letter prepared, would you please include that, that we also want to get this to Sanford? And that, so that we put them on notice also that they are part of the overall planning solution. They've got a seat at the table.
And by Sanford, you mean the city manager and the elected officials?
City manager and elected officials, the city of Sanford, correct.
And if they don't want to participate, we'll blow it across Lake Jessup before the city and then go around the corner and up through the swamp and get it to the airport.
That is not, that
I
is not
think
a
that's called
consensus.
I-4.
That is not a consensus.
Yeah, we'll leave that out of the letter.
Anything else, Commissioner?
Yes, thank you. I had the opportunity to speak to a group of retirees at the Ascension Church in Castleberry on August 19th, and I learned that we have a great deal of seniors in our community, and this is not the first time I've heard it, that are looking for a lockbox program. A lockbox program meaning, which some of you probably are aware of, that the seniors have a box on their front door that has a code that they can put keys in it, so first responders or whomever arrives there, they can simply walk up, get the code, get in access to the house to help the seniors. We have a loosely set up deal now through our first responders, Alan Harris's group. You can call them as a senior, identify your address, identify the code, procure the lockbox at Lowe's, Home Depot, et cetera, et cetera. But I had a lot of these folks were saying, we come from communities that have this as a asset by the county. Is it something that you all would consider looking at to put a formal program in place to let the seniors know this does exist, et cetera, and just another way of helping our elderly folks? So just throwing it out there is something that was brought to me during a discussion in the community. If it's something we could look into reasonably, and just, is there a way to do it, to reach out to the seniors? It sounds like we just got to loosely, one neighbor tells another, and they've called my office, we hook them up with, our first responders, and they enter it all in and so forth. So I think it would be a great thing we can do.
Commissioner Lockhart, then Commissioner Herr.
Well, I know the sheriff's office has someone on their team that does specifically work with seniors for safety issues.
Right.
And if they, of course, have the home check program and all that. So it might be something we would want to coordinate with them. Not that our, emergency management folks wouldn't be willing or able to, but
Yeah.
if there's already a
Sure.
structure in place, maybe we
Absolutely.
can plug that in. I don't know.
Piggyback on
It's
it,
a great
whatever.
idea.
Yeah.
Commissioner Herr, and then I have a question for
Is the concept that it would be all of the municipalities? So that if you live in the city of Altamont, it's probably not a good example, but in a city that has their own fire and rescue, that they're following the same process as well, so we don't have community confusion?
Correct. It would be obvious that would be best case scenario. Some of the folks that were there were from different parts of incorporated, unincorporated, that were saying, oh, we already have that. and I think that was the city of Oviedo or Winter Springs, already has something in place.
Well, we're Winter Springs, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're winners.
So anyway, ideally it would be something, mayors and managers discussion, if you're going to try to do something with the sheriff's office and so forth. But just a thought, I mean, the elderly are asking, just thought I'd put it on y'all's radar. I think it's a great idea. If you have an elderly parent, or you could call somebody and say, hey, here's the lockbox, and go check on my mom or dad or whatever the case might be.
We've had the door banged down a couple of times with elderly. And I will tell you, if we ever call again, we are in trouble.
That's right.
Put on-
I think it's a great idea.
No, it's fantastic.
At the sake of not putting anything more right now in
Sure.
the middle of COVID on our emergency
Understood.
preparedness.
Right.
Maybe, Chief, you could, if through county manager's directive, if we could find someone, whether it's chief or her, to see if they can look into that program and bring it back to us.
Yeah,
as
the
far
sheriff's
as-
office can help, or whatever the case might be.
And you can probably fund it with ARPA dollars.
Well, now, there you go.
Through
So,
emergency response, and
if-
you may want to also include special needs, folks with special needs, and maybe.
Sure.
Do the same.
County
That's a good
manager,
idea.
I don't want to direct anybody to do that. I'm asking you if you could direct somebody to do that and bring that idea back.
Fantastic.
As to what we could do.
It's a great
okay?
idea.
I think you have a consensus that we'd like to do something with that. Okay,
Okay, great.
Commissioner.
Also, on August 19th, I had the privilege of speaking to the American Legion in Oviedo. Bill's Post, thank you for having me there, sir. Great food, good Italian cooked food, good dessert, good fellowship. Actually, a great bunch of folks there in the Oviedo area, and I was honored to be there and speak as your guest, so thank you very much. Also, as many of you know, Lake Jessup, unfortunately, continues to have blue-green algae blooms. We could beat this horse to death, but again, it continues to be a problem, and I know that it's very important to all of us here, and I can't emphasize enough that we just keep pounding to try to find the money to do something, eventually with Lake Jessup. I mean, we've got a small project going on there now that there's plenty of naysayers, but at least it's a start, and it's got some focus and got some attention. But I just ask that everybody keep that in the back of their mind as we go through the years and try to make sure that we keep pushing that. Next, got some exciting news from the airport. As your liaison at the airport, if we could, I've got a video. If you could cue that up, please. Just a quick, the new terminal completion to let you know what's going on out there. Thank you. The good news is $65 million worth of improvements came in during COVID, under budget and on time. They really did a great job over there. And during COVID, I think they believe it actually allowed them to accomplish much quicker than they otherwise would have because of the reduced traffic and so forth. The good news is, further good news is, we actually have a passenger count that's increasing. We're still not back to the 2019 numbers. We're still running 31% below 2019, but the good news is we're 49% above the 2020 numbers. So passenger count is coming back. The other bit of good news which will help drive that is we have 2 new airlines online. October 9th, we have Swoop Airlines that'll be flying to Toronto 4 times a week. Hamilton starts November 1st, twice a week, and Edmonton out west on November 5th, twice a week. Flair will also be servicing starting October 31st with 5 times to Montreal, Toronto, and 4 times a week to Ottawa. November 1st will kick off flights to Kitchener, Waterloo, and Halifax twice a week. So be ready for a great deal of Canadian snowbirds to influx our community. We will have more flights coming and going from Canada than any international airport in the state of Florida. I guess they're going to make Sanford International Airport their choice to fly in and out of. So with that said, that's all I've got. Thank you all very much.
That is exciting news about the 2 Canadian.
It's great.
And especially since you go to Canada at least once a year.
That's right, exactly.
We should probably warn them about us coming there, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Commissioner, I just wanted to make one comment on the Lake Jessup, because I concur with you. I mean, we need a long-term, big-picture plan. Unfortunately, since I've been here, I see a whole different perspective than when in the legislature, when we constantly sent money, but didn't see anything really happening. And then when we got a report, I think you recall that report, what a sad day. It said that no matter how much cleanup we were doing, the legacy phosphates and nitrates
Right.
were causing more than we were able
Right.
to, clean.
Right.
And it almost seems to me that, and this is a difficult thing to do, but one of the things we had to do and bite the bullet back with Lake Apopka
Right.
is actually buy all the land around it to
Right.
stop the phosphates and the nitrates from coming in and then doing an entire cleanup. Now, that is a 20, 30, 40, 50-year project. And we're just seeing, after about 20 years,
Yeah.
some positive results in Lake Apopka.
Agreed.
So, I mean, that is not something to take lightly, and it is going to take an infusion of not just from Seminole County, but be a project like Lake Apopka statewide.
Agreed, and I concur 100%. I do agree that it's going to be a multi-decade undertaking. My goal is that we at least start at some point. The sooner we start, the sooner we can get it done, the sooner it stays on everybody's radar in Tallahassee and in DC and so forth. But no, agreed 100%. It's not an easy fix. It took a long time to get the way it is. It's going to take a lot longer to get it back the way it should be. But my whole hopes are that we can at least kick off something to keep the ball rolling into the future. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Lockhart?
I'm going to go ahead first, if I could, and do Commissioner Delari's district report for him. He's got an appointment and a request for a letter of support, so Kendra, I'm reading your notes. I hope I do this justice. So Commissioner Delary is requesting a reappointment to the Central Florida Commuter Rail Committee, a member that comprises the Customer Advisory Committee. Mr. James Grezik. This is why you handed this to me.
Yeah. Gee, how did you guess?
It would be for a one-year term starting October 2021, and for the record, for the clerk's office, it's spelled Grzesik.
Grezik?
Maybe? So this appointment is going to be contingent upon the Central Florida Commuter Rail Commission ratifying it because this is apparently asking for a waiver of their 3-year rule that they have. So if the board would entertain this appointment from Commissioner Delary.
Second, so moved, whatever you'd like.
Okay.
Moved and seconded, discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, passes.
Then Dorothy O'Brien for a 1-year term starting October 2021 as well.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, passes unanimously.
Then for a letter of support, as part of his Sunrail, the CRISI grant, C-R-I-S-I grant, he's asking for 2 crossovers. One is adjacent to the Sunrail Link Central Station in the downtown Orlando core, and the other located between Sunrail Meadow Woods and the Tupperware stations on the southern end of the corridor. The total cost for the 2 crossovers will be around $10 million, with the department supplying $5 million and the CRISI grant matching the $5 million.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, so letter from the chairman for support of both of those.
And Kyla, I will give this to you. You're welcome. Then for District 4, as your representative, one of your representatives on the East Central Florida Regional Planning Council, we had our first meeting down in Lake County that was, we're doing field trips for our meetings, and had a great visit down in Groveland. It really is fun to get to see other communities and how they operate and the things that they offer their citizens. And even though we're all here in the Central Florida region, we all have such unique, wonderful things to offer. So there was a tour given of the Kroger facility, which is actually quite something to see. Just a massive distribution facility that they have out there. That was the fun part of the meeting. We had some business to take care of with the executive director. We are working on a transition plan for that executive director, and there's been a lot of discussion. We have the attorney, the chairman of the board, and the current executive director working on a transition plan that the board. The whole board did ratify a recommendation, and they're going to go back and talk about it some more. And so hopefully, after all is said and done and the dust is settled, we can start talking to the community and networking and trying to find really the right fit moving forward for that organization. They've done some strategic planning, and there's just been a lot of thought and effort that's gone into planning councils and what they can be and what they should be and how they could really be an awesome hub of the wheel for every region. And since the Florida legislature each year kind of seems to take a crack at wanting to eliminate planning councils, all the more reason to make sure that in this search for a new executive director that they will have that in the forefront of their mind, being relevant and useful. So, and I keep looking at Nicole because she's been incredibly helpful with crafting some of the language and some of the key points that would be important for us to keep in mind moving forward as an organization. So interesting, exciting things on the horizon there. Then I spent the better part of last week at the Florida Association of Counties Innovation and Legislative Policy Conference down in West Palm Beach. And if there is any way for any organization with elected officials to take conversations and drag them out and have them take an entire day, we did it. You think these meetings are long? Holy cow. You have Miami-Dade and Wakulla, and all of their different needs are so incredibly diverse, and yet you want one organization speaking for them, and so it's genuinely a challenge. And the concept of home rule sometimes gets lost even in our own organization, because we think what works for us should then certainly work for everybody else, and that is not the case. So it was an eye-opening, great experience, met some wonderful people, really good things on the horizon if we can get out of our own way, for sure.
Great.
That's it.
Great report. Thank you.
And that's one of the reasons why I think it's so important, the Florida Association of Counties, because it does find a way to bridge that gap between all of the different counties and understand that home rule, the reason for home rule is because we're all different, not because we're all the same.
Right.
And that each one of us have a different angle, reason, plan, and local government is such an incubator for new ideas and new concepts that might work in all areas of government. And frankly, I'm very proud of our association with the Florida Association because Commissioner Zimbauer is a member of the Transportation Committee. Commissioner Herr has taken the classes for the new member. Commissioner Lockhart is newly on the board of directors. And as you all know that I am the incoming president. Unfortunately, I became the president last week because the president was ill and could not attend. So Commissioner Lockhart is expressing some of the meetings that I had to run to.
That was not a dig at you.
I know it wasn't. I didn't take it as such. I agree with you. There were long meetings that we had to get through, but they were all on various issues that we confront every single day.
But did you have a bowl of chocolate?
No.
Actually, I was not
There's a
having to
problem.
share all of those meetings. I was sitting back. We had plenty of food, though.
There were treats.
There was food there. Also, I did want to say on September 22nd, the Thousand Friends of Florida did have here in Seminole County, a Seminole-specific 2070 river-friendly planning meeting that the river keepers, St. John's River Keepers, and others sponsored. It was virtual. I believe that the final count was something like 80, 85 people that attended it virtually, which is a very nice group of people that did attend. This past Saturday, this county, which Commissioner Delory has been at the forefront of for many years, the Veterans Appreciation Drive-Through Luncheon was done at the courthouse. There was nearly 100 folks there, and we had a number of staff there, including Mr. Abel, and it was a wonderful event, again, with those folks with their families driving through. Sonny's was providing lunch, and there was little handouts for many of them. So that was a wonderful thing. I don't have to tell you, but I'm telling the audience tonight at 6 o'clock is the second public hearing of the 21-22 budget. If anyone is interested in coming out, it's for the public. On the 30th, the Orlando Business Journal this Thursday is holding a community impact housing virtual roundtable that I will be one of the participants concerning affordable housing and other housing concerns that we have here in our county, or not our county, but our region, excuse me. And on the 6th, I have the FDOT, the City of Altamont Springs, the county manager, and myself will be talking about the potential of the future of that Hadaway Drive redevelopment area that's currently in the county. It's just, kind of like what can we do? I think all of you recall the FDOT, when they were doing the Ultimate I-4, bought that property.
Right.
And feeling that it was going to have to be used for drainage. Then Altamont came out with their Alta plan and was able to move much of that water that was being used to Apopka and other areas for water uses that they were having instead of drawing it out of the Wekiva and other areas. So now that area is going to be able to be developed. Currently it's in the county, but it is an enclave in the county surrounded by the city. So the future is to the benefit of both the county and the city, and to see just exactly what can be done. And since FDOT is the owner of that property, nothing can be done without them agreeing first. And last is just something that you all know. 35 years ago, I started an event called Charity Challenge. And a couple of years ago, I decided after 35 years that it was time to, all good things must come to an end. It was time to look for an exit plan. And then COVID hit. And so we've had to postpone the exit plan 3 different times. But the city of Orlando gave us the Citrus Bowl, Camping World Stadium, for this Saturday and Friday. So we have been able to put together, my all-volunteer group put together in 2 months, which usually takes us 10 months. And we will have the last charity challenge on October 2nd. The kickoff starts at 10 a.m. on Saturday. We'll have about 3,000 or 4,000 people there for the opening. We have about 50 teams, well over 200 sponsors, and we're looking to raise over $300,000. And that will put us at 35 years, $7 million that we have been able to raise for the community. And I would love to have any of you that would like to come out. It's free and open to the public. Anybody that wishes to come out, we'd love to have you. The Boy Scouts will be selling food. The Seminole County Rotary Club will be selling the adult beverages. And I think that, and there's a lot of silent auction items that will be available. So, and 50, as I said, the real excitement is the 50 teams competing in the co-ed athletic events of volleyball, tug of war, obstacle course, kayak relay, and basketball hot shots. And if you'd all like to come out, love to have you, get you on stage, say hello to the people, kick off the games. And with that, I'm done. I've got nothing else. Does anybody else have anything for the good of the order? Yes, Commissioner.
Good work for 35 years and helped a lot of people. Congratulations, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir.
I know that comes with a lot of mixed emotions, winding down and helping all those folks you've helped in the past. I want to revisit the 1,000 Friends of Florida overview. I don't know if anybody else was on that presentation. I know I was, and Commissioner Constantine was there representing the county. I was actually a little taken back by one of the speakers who was with Riverkeepers, who made numerous statements and quoted numerous things about this county that just simply are not true. I preserved that presentation, and I think we owe it to those folks as well as our community to make those corrections and at least send a friendly note advising them that, yes, we do and are addressing affordable housing. We are addressing the community land trust. We've done exponential things with ordinances. And at one point, it became a campaign speech, in my opinion, which was very unfortunate. The population and density was misstated. There was a lot of things that just weren't accurate. So whether the chairman would want to do that or
Commissioner,
my office is happy to draft those corrections to send off to those folks. I mean, I value those folks.
Yep.
They have a good place at the table. But I think making political statements is not the right process.
To be honest, I taped the beginning of it. I could not watch it because Commissioner Lockhart and I were both down, so I only got the beginning. I was down in, at the Florida Association of Counties, and there was an event that started at 5:30. So I will tell you that I did not see that, but I would very much be happy to take what you've done with you and write a correction, and
Great.
not just us do it. I think
Right.
it's more important that we give it to the 1,000 Friends of Florida.
Right.
As a board member, I will ensure that the executive director gets it, and they would send it out to
Sure.
the others what
Right.
the corrections were, because it was not anybody, from what I'm hearing from you, there was
Right.
not somebody from Seminole County, it was somebody from the Riverkeepers.
Correct.
Who is from Volusia County, that was doing that, and that certainly needs to be great. And the 1,000 Friends of Florida has everybody's email
Right.
address that signed up, so that would be a great way to get it right back to them through the 1,000 Friends.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Great. I'll have
Let's
my
do that.
office try to put something together.
Commissioner, County Manager?
I would just offer the assistance of Rebecca's office as you pull that information
Sure,
together. Maybe
absolutely.
she can work
No,
with your office to make sure
absolutely.
we've got all of the
No,
data.
it basically painted us back maybe 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And didn't credit for all the work this board's done, as well as boards prior to us, in being proactive in so many areas, not only the environment, but control of type of building, the things we've done with our shoreline ordinance, the fertilizer ordinance, all those things that have been done.
The new growth management changes.
I was really taken back.
County Manager, if we could, I don't want any one of us to have our individual thumbprint on this. Maybe this would be great that we take this presentation that Commissioner Zimbauer has, get it to our staff, have them put together the letter that we would then take back to the Thousand Friends to distribute to all the people that had signed up to the thing as corrections.
Just clarifications.
Clarifications.
I'm not asking us, take a political position.
No.
I'm just saying whatever the facts are, here they are,
Yeah.
not what was stated in this presentation.
Great. I'm glad you were watching it. Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Lockhart.
You said you have that presentation. Is it in a way that it could be circulated so that our
Yes.
staff and we could see it?
Yes,
That would be
Deborah
great.
has that, and I'm happy to share it with everybody.
That'd be great.
And it's
Thank you.
about halfway, it was after Paul Owens spoke, it was after you had spoke, and it was when, probably the third or fourth speaker down. I think she's actually from South Florida area. Indian River County maybe, or something like that, I'm not sure, but we've got it, I'm happy to share it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And
Thank
it's
you.
kind of like, the Thousand Friends of Florida can ask people to do it, but they can't tell
Right.
them what to say.
Right,
you know?
right.
So, it's kind of like, this is not our, our
Right.
content, this is just what the speaker is saying.
Right.
Thank you very much, that's
Thank
great.
you.
And so we'll get that taken care of, and I appreciate it. And is there anything else for the good of the order, folks? Seeing none, meeting is adjourned. We'll see you all at 6 o'clock.